Hey, what's up everyone? Morey Croson here, and this is going to be episode 8 of the Morey Myles podcast. It's going to be a little bit of a different episode as we're going to be doing both a on the field as well as a meetup in person with Chris Aguado, a local defensive back coach. And what we wanted to do is be able to go from a kind of receiver, defensive back standpoint, talk about some of the things on the field that could help you out. As many of you guys know, I have a background playing receiver in college, and obviously Chris played defensive back. And so wanted to be able to show you some things when it comes to getting separation on the field and just some things to be able to work on there. And then another big thing would be really being able to connect with him and talk to him about building his business. So super great episode. Go ahead and check it out, like, subscribe, all that type of good stuff. And we'll start the episode right now. Just getting set up when going against man coverage. I'm going to say for the sake of the conversation here, I'm going to want to get some type of outside release based off of where you're set up, right? So we'll say I'm going to some type of deep route, right? And so if I'm going to go some type of deep route, somebody's set up and you know, just for reference, if you can't see too good, my left foot, inside foot, is lined up with his outside foot, also left foot, right? So like I have an extra foot here, he has an extra foot here. And so if I'm going to try to get a press release, and the general concept that I like to think about is, you know, I want to be able to get through with my hips. It's kind of like a whole thing you learn with jiu-jitsu, right? Where you want to be able to get through with the legs, through the hips, right? And then I use the arms as kind of like a secondary thing from there, right? So if I can get past him with the hips, then I could start to be able to utilize the arms. So the first thing that I want to do then, if the concept of wanting to get outside, get the hips outside, I want to be able to give him something inside that will kind of give him a freeze, right? I could either go with the left foot, right? So I'm based off of where I'm going to go, I'm going to be shifting my weight. If I'm going to go with my left foot first, I'm going to start with my weight on my back foot, go here, try to get him to be able to go, and then I want to be able to get back outside. Obviously, as a defensive back, he's probably going to want to get his hand on me. I want to be able to get that off of me whatever I can, you know, from a hand perspective. So, you know, with that being said, how would you kind of want to defend that as a defensive back?
So first things first, going back to what you said, the alignment portion. So I see this a lot. This is what I see a lot in high school.
Yeah.
But if you really look at it, my whole face is offside. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my rule of thumb is I always go yard. Now if they have the hashes, I go yard. Sometimes when it's a longer body, I go yard and a half. Because of what you just said. If you attack my leverage right now with one step and I go lateral, right, I'm in a good position. But if I'm here, well, where's a bad spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I personally technically like to play at a yard and a half personally. And when I am attacked, I slide with it. Same thing, right? I keep the distance that you were talking about, right? This is my starting point. I started here. He gave me a move. I want to mimic that same move. Now when he replaces that, he goes outside. My first thing is taking a high angle because I want to cut him off, right? Because if I go from here to here, as we walk through it, go ahead, I'm going to end up behind you.
Yeah.
And this is, you know, bro, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So personally, I like to hold my ground and play basketball. 45 steps. Some people like to inch out. Personally, I'm not a big fan of it because, you know, they get panic.
Okay, inch out going quick.
And you just create too much space.
Yeah.
You know, especially like.
Wait, what is inch out?
Inching out is like, inching out motor techniques. So that's basically like if I'm pressing, the first thing we're doing is like motoring back, slowly motoring back to keep that 1 yard cushion.
Okay.
Like I said, personally, I'm not a big fan of it. I like to reach step. I like to just do this and reach step and then let you do whatever you want, and I'm shuffling a little bit.
Okay.
Just so I can put hands on it. Because
Yeah.
if I inch out, I'm not going to be able to put hands on you, right? So me, personally, I've had a conversation with Will. And Will, you know, he's actually showed me some cool stuff because Will likes to cock his body like this.
Yeah.
And that's another conversation for another day. But personally, like, there's many ways you can play it though, but personally, just for the sake of this combo, I like to play, like we talked about, having our leverage, and whatever he gives me, I got to keep this same relationship, foot to foot.
Okay. And I mean, going off of like what we were kind of getting into, so if we get a good release here, or, you know, getting out in front, what do you generally, you know, talk about? Like if the receiver, or even from your perspective, if the defensive back, you know, gets beat a little bit, right, and you end up in this position, what are some of the things that you try to do in order to kind of regain your position, right? Because like if I give you a move, right, and I can get here and then try to get back on top, what am you going to try to do to be able to defend that?
I'm going to have to fight this. So when I say fight it, meaning you give me that inside move, and then you take off, and then you're trying to stack me right now, right? So as you try to stack, I'm trying to fight that stack.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Another thing I can
and that is an important thing right there. I would want to say, right, because that could potentially be a mistake. Because like from here, right, I want to be able to get wide and get separation, so then he can't get on top of me and try to stack me, right? Because he's trying to get back on top. So I want to be able to, in a way, be able to get outside, but then get inside, right? Because I want to be here so I can get away and then get back on top. Because now he's in a bad spot where he's not going to be able to get back on top. So now just being able, from a receiver perspective, being able to see what those defensive backs are trying to be able to do, I think will help you. And then same thing with the defensive back. They're going to try to get wide. So at first, maybe even cutting down that angle a little bit to make sure you can get to them. And then you're going to be able to cut them back off and get on top.
Also, another thing, too, though, is, man, what I'm seeing a lot of in young DBs, man, a lot of it is when that move happens and then acceleration happens. So just get to the top of this. When that happens, when acceleration happens, this is always the first thought for kids. It's like my hips are turned that way.
I'm
trying to go that way.
Start grab.
And I'm doing this. You would think, like, if you walk through it, take my body.
Yeah,
you would think that it's going to propel me, but it's not, because that's what you're going to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm not even going to get to touch you, because receivers are taught the moment that hand goes out, it's coming off. Right?
Yeah.
So that's...
Not all the time, but it is an important thing, especially if they reach. Like, don't let that, you can't let deep, because I see that too with receivers. Receivers kind of let people, and really, I've even told that to, like, soccer players, where it's like hand fight, because in soccer, like, they'll start grabbing you here, and soccer players don't really do anything because they haven't really been taught, and it's like you gotta hand fight it. Yeah, you gotta do the same type of thing.
I was gonna run through one more thing too on that end.
Because I wanted to get back to Slant.
The only thing that I will say, because I was taught that in college, as far as like putting your hands out to propel yourself in the direction in which the receiver is going to. That doesn't happen from this position. It can't happen. They're gonna wax on, wax off you. Or if I'm like this trying to reach, you're gonna run, and that's gonna be like, it's not really a lever. You're gonna run right through that. Right? The only other way I can see is if I'm on top of you and you're running into me, right? And now that's propelling me to where you're going. That's the only way I can see that happen. But and that's why I tell DBs, like, use your hands as frames. Not really like, I'm not trying to defeat the guy and like kill him, right? I'm really trying to use it as frames to keep the distance, keep my leverage, right? I mean, that's I just wanted to touch base on that.
Because I think we could just transition nicely into getting inside, right? Because obviously, from a receiver's perspective, it's a little bit easier to be able to go over the outside stuff. Now, the inside stuff, and really, you have a couple different options here, right? So immediately, what I'm thinking about, and it would be dependent on how I feel as an individual, right? Like I'm not a big receiver, not a small receiver, so I'm going to go against different types of DBs. Some DBs, the best, are going to be bigger than me, some are going to be smaller than me. We're about the same size, so I think I could probably get away with being able to come straight inside and then try to, do some type of slant or something like that. I'll just run right through, because whenever he tries to do, I'm just going to rip whatever this is, and I'm just going to try to get into it right away. Right? Obviously, if it's a bigger defensive back, that might be a little bit risky, but it also could pay off. It just kind of depends on what your feelings are about, the defensive back and how you guys have been playing so far during the game. The other option is obviously to get something going on the outside, right, to be able to get him to open up, so then you can come and get back underneath. Now, the big thing with that is you just have to, it's either a speed or a power game, right? So as a receiver, you got to be able to establish both, right, the best that you can. You want to be able to show that you have strength, you have the ability to be powerful, so then he has some respect there, and then also with the speed. So if I'm going with this one, I have a little bit more speed advantage, I can come back underneath. If I'm just going to go and try to get, inside, then I want to be able to get here and then get up underneath. But whenever I try to get separation from defensive backs, right, especially anything underneath, I want to have a time period where I have some connection here, right? So I want some contact here, so then I could use my hips, I could use my elbows, I could do whatever to be able to create a little bit of separation, right? And that's one of the things that I really try to do when it comes to, playing in any type of man coverage, or playing against any type of man coverage, right? Corner routes, out routes, slant routes. So if I can get some type of contact there, it really allows me the opportunity to get this separation and not really having to extend or do anything crazy with my arms. So, how would you kind of...
Honestly, on that, I want to go back to the outside release. So,
Okay.
Because I
So
was
we'll go
actually
here.
having a conversation with a couple like dudes that I know
Mhm.
and teach it just to kind of make it quick cue, I'd
Yeah.
say. Is that outside move has to make him commit hip-wise. Once his hips are locked that way, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like, that's like a lot of the times they'll take outside release and his hips are still like this and they want to cut right back inside. You know,
Yeah.
it's like keep going, widen them out. It's a patient game.
Yeah.
The moment he locks the hips, it's a wrap. Now he has to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just want to touch base on that.
Yeah, which is where you have to be explosive. You know, you can't be lackadaisical when getting off it, and then don't do too much extra stuff with like the eyes and the head and all this type of stuff. Because like if I went to here and try to go like this, like that's not gonna get an experienced defensive back to be like, oh man, like quick fade, better freak out or something like that. Like somebody that's a good defensive back.
There.
Yeah, you gotta really be able
there
to.
so that, oh shoot, I gotta respect that.
Yeah.
But yeah, to the slant, honestly, man, I always like to go 2 to 1 hand. So meaning, like what you were just talking about, you
Like
came
here?
in 2 hands, right? And then as you're leaning on me, right, 2 to 1, and then now this one comes off and I'm staying on the top shoulder. Putting my feet first to regain, right? We talked about our leverage with our feet, or even splitting his middle of his body, right? So I'm putting hands here. As he turns the shoulders, starts to lean. I got this hand here. I can even let him lean. That's fine as long as I'm fighting back.
Yeah.
Some type of fight back. Okay. I just don't want to let lean on.
Yeah, create that separation. Yeah.
So I want to. I was taught at a young age. A lot of times, like when they lean on you, they're going away from you.
Yeah.
As I got older, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I see somebody lean on me, and then me go that way, and then they break on the out.
Yeah.
I would just say keep a little bit of tension. You don't want to kill the guy like we talked about earlier. I don't want to like kill you and take you in there.
Yeah.
I also don't want to be all soft and let you push me. I want to create a little bit of contact, a little bit of fight back.
Yeah.
Right. So when that slant does come and you turn the shoulders, I know where my drive is.
Yeah. I would say with that, the key thing is because it's a great way to be able to defend it, and my thing that would be critical is going to be the key determinant is being able to get vertical, right? So as fast as I can here, I want to be able to get horizontal to vertical to back to horizontal or back to side. So then when he tries to put the hands on me, when he goes 2 hands, I want to be able to give him at least amount of an ability to get both hands on me as possible. I want to be able to be as side. Yeah.
Here. So like when you got to this point,
Yeah.
I had 2 hands on you, but because you turned and rotated the shoulders, I missed.
Yeah.
So that's huge. When he rotates his shoulders, and he's like he said, he's going that way, you're going this way.
Yeah.
I can't even put a hand on you, so I'm gonna have to be here.
Yeah.
and ride
Yep.
you.
Yep.
So as soon as
And
you
it
go
kind of
vertical-
gets your leverage a little bit
exactly.
more here, so then I can come back here and then create that
Real critical
separation.
from like all the receiver coaches that I've been like around, like Jameer, DJ, all these good ones. They're always doing this.
Yeah.
Always. And it's like so crucial because for us, it's like it's annoying.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, keep your shoulders still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's the same thing as defensive backs, right? Like if I'm going and blocking a bubble screen and you're a defensive back, you're going to try to get skinny. Don't let the guy get your hands on. It's the same concept. Yeah. You want to be able to get skinny and make sure that it's not an easy target to be able to go after.
Like understanding, like honestly, from our end, one of the biggest, me personally,
Yeah.
I hate speed releases. So
Yeah.
everything that we just talked about as far as like making me commit somewhere,
Yeah.
that makes us panic
Yeah.
the most. You know what I mean? But to that point, what also comes is a stab and go.
Yeah.
So, and I see it a lot to where the stab will make DBs lock their hips, and
Yeah.
then as soon as they cross their face, they're doing this. And
Yeah.
so I kind of want to touch base on being out of phase and understanding what to do. So if I lose this battle and you make me commit here, right? Let's take your step here, and I open and lock my hips here, and you cross my face. All I gotta do is turn my head and cut you off.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of the times, kids, our first reaction is to look there like, oh shoot, like I got beat, right? My first instinct, if my hips are locked and the person crosses my face,
Yeah.
I have to get my ear. I was taught to get my ear to my shoulder, whip my ear to my shoulder and find where he's at, because I could find him here and he could be coming right back.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So,
Yeah. Get that head around quick.
Exactly. So a lot of times, like DBs will get locked, and then like their eyes will be really round.
Yeah.
I'm coming out round. Right. So the tighter that we can be in our speed turn, from locked hips to right sitting down and cutting things off, it makes our job a lot easier when we're beat at the line.
Yeah.
Another one that I've seen is, for example, let's say my hips aren't locked and we're sliding out, and then you cross my face, and then now I'm here in this position.
Yeah.
We don't need to panic. Now as you push vertical like we talked about, all you do is you get back inside.
Yeah.
And then now if you run an in-breaking route,
You're right there. Yeah.
right? If you run an out-breaking route, I'm still playing it from inside out.
Yeah.
Right? It's just understanding and respecting our leverage. I really
Yeah, not
been
getting
wanting to
panicky.
talk on that for sure, because
Yeah.
that's very important, man. We call it boomerang in college.
Yeah.
So where like we get beat, they cross my face, he's inside of me, just boomerang back, get inside of me, keep your eyes on the hip, and now I just play football.
Yeah.
Yep. But on your end, now what would you do? The conversation I want to have is like on your end, if let's
Well,
say,
I want to go into like how
Oh,
we
go
get to
ahead.
that
Yeah, yeah,
situation, right? So because we only went over, I think we got to talk about, we only went over like a couple different releases there, right? And so there's two other things that I think end up being important. One of the things that I would do in college, and this would be more against aggressive defensive back. So if you want to come a little bit more close, Chris, because Chris is a little bit more off. So when you have somebody that's a little bit more off, I feel a little bit more comfortable getting right into my route, right? Because like I'll see guys that when they get a closer defensive back, what you end up doing, then and a lot of times you can feel if they're aggressive, right? You can feel if they're going to come after you, and so sometimes you'll go in and come back into it, and then come after me, get aggressive with me, right? And then they're going to come. I mean, you just kind of fall right into their game, right? Because that was one of the things that I was taught. What you want to be able to do is get your feet underneath you, right? So I want to make sure that my feet are in a good, strong spot, and I want to create some type of lateral shift that makes it so now he is going to be hitting something that is not going to really be there, right? And so I'm going to be here, and I want to go boom, so then he thinks I'm going to be in, and then try to make it so I'm not really going to be there. Okay, and it's the same type of thing here. So really in this situation, like I would love to be able to get him to think I'm going outside, right? Because now if I can get him to go outside, now I can really try to be able to fight back in, right? And then you want to just be able to understand what I'm trying to do with the hands, right? The hands end up being super important, right? But I have to have those hips underneath, because if he gets me, I can't make it so then I'm just getting, destroyed all the way back here, and as a receiver, that happens to freaking everybody, right? You don't get the right timing, you don't get your hands up in the right position, whatever the case may be, you're going to end up having a situation where you're not going to look good, right? But you also, if you can continue to work on being able to get quick with those feet, you can really give him a different thought processes of what he's going to do, and get him to lunge and come at you, and then you can go off of that, But the big thing is, you're reacting from the core and with the feet, and trying to be quick with the feet, and just being strong. You want to be, just because there's a physical guy in front of you, somebody that's bigger, somebody thinks he can be a dominating force, like that. Use that to your advantage. That happens to me, all the time. Happened to me all the time when we play flag. It happens to me all the time, and the more aggressive they want to be, the more exposed they're going to end up getting, because it just makes them in a bad position. They'll even start to be less aggressive, which is what makes it so now you're like, okay, now you're really done, right? Because when there's a defensive back that is trying to be super aggressive, and all of a sudden he can't get hands on you, and then he tries to play more of Chris's game, right? Now you won, right? Because he is playing a different game. Right, so it'd be like the opposite of what Chris went through. Chris is a defensive back, or more of a patient defensive back. He's going to sit off. He's going to let you come to me, or let the receiver come to him. And so if all of a sudden Chris starts to be like, oh man, I got to get aggressive with this guy, it's because you're giving him Chris starts feeling like he's getting too much space and making it so now he has to change up his game, which is what makes you win. So you got to be able to go into it with a plan, with an idea, and you got to be aware of what type of defensive back you're going against in order to really be able to win that kind of mind game that happens at the line.
Now let me ask you a question on that release.
Yeah.
Because I see it on social media a lot.
Yeah.
People like they line up like this.
Yeah.
Aggressive, right?
Yeah.
Inside the foot.
Yeah.
First thing they're doing right now is jamming, walking off the inside, and I'm leveraged out. So if you do give me a move, I'm running right into you. So walk me through how.
So with this type of situation, right, whatever of the foot that is forward, I'm going to attack that foot, because that is going to be more of the weaker foot, okay, because he's not going to be able to really push off of that foot. So if I get here, he can't really do a lot with this foot, right? So I want to be able to go off of whatever foot he is here. And really what I if I can, I would really like to be able to block this foot off. You know, so if I can go here and almost just like with my right leg be able to push off, and this would be, you know, something I haven't really had as much experience against this type of thing, but if I was able to go here, I could really make it so now this guy's screwed, right? Because I just jumped off and there's really nothing that he can do, and then I'd want to be able to come through there. So I try to, you know, something like that, be a little bit creative with it, right? So instead of trying to get square, right, because he's coming at you from this angle, right? So I want to stay with my angle, right? I want to be able to stay as vertical as possible because he's trying to make it so I'm playing this side-to-side game, and he's committed to that side-to-side game, right? Which means you're probably going against a guy that has a lot of speed, right? And very comfortable with his vertical, his ability for you to be able to get vertical on him, which is fine. You know, that's okay. That's going to end up happening, okay? Trying to get vertical on him. So, whoops, sorry. Yeah, so still trying to get vertical on him, right? Because now I can make it so it's hard for him to be able to really dictate it. Because once I go here, right, because you want me to do this, right? Because now you're coming after me, right? Now I'm like a little puppy in a corner, you know, and now you're taking me out, okay? And then with how your foot is like this, you know, I also really can't go here because now I play right into that foot, you know, on the inside, and now you're going to be able to easily take advantage of it.
First, like when they also too, like when people do line up in this, they want to take it.
Yeah.
They want to, because they're going to step into it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if we could just move, especially something big with the hands too.
Yeah.
Big
Sure.
with the hands. Because
And
somebody
shoulders.
coming at you like this, your hands and shoulders.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm not a big fan of that. I asked that question because I see it on social. I would never just try to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it gets tough. I mean, I would just try to go more just like here on it with the other foot, right? But here, you know, here I'd probably just want to go here. But you know, something that's a little creative would be like going the other way. But yeah. So now if we're going on this side, right? It depends on obviously what we're trying to do. Okay. But like if I'm going to try to get vertical, my first step is going to be boom here, right? To make it so then I can create some separation. Okay, and then if I'm trying to get inside, then it's going to be the same type of thing. You know, if I can go and jump inside and come across, then it makes it so that he doesn't have a lot of leverage there, right? Because like he said, he's trying to take advantage of this step, right? And so if I can really jump and get some type of explosive movement, then I could really be able to get away from him quickly, right? But you really, you know, if that is a defensive back you're going against, you can't let him get hands on you. You know, you really have to, from the beginning, like, think of yourself like a quick little mouse. You know, you gotta just get away. Like, just whatever little small things you could do, just like don't get caught. Or like a cricket, you know, like you're trying to kill a cricket, they're like, they'll kind of let you come in, let you come in, and then boom, you're out. You know, last second they know how to respond. So it's that same kind of concept off of it.
Yeah, so we have a DB. There's two different ways that we can look at this, right? I could look at it as if I'm in a trail.
Yeah.
Meaning I have a safety on top of me, whether it's cover one high, one man or two man, or if it's cover zero. Now
Yeah.
I'm playing the vertical route myself. I'm playing on top. For the sake of this conversation, let's just play underneath. Trail technique. So we're at the top of the routes. My position, the way I've always been taught, and I teach my guys, is I want to have my peg to his shoulder, right? Because if I'm running with you with my near pec to your near shoulder, and I'm here, I'm active, I'm able to see your shoulder, I'm able to see your hips, I'm able to keep my body in this position and respect my leverage. Now, the moment that my pec is vertical, that allows everything from you inside. This is where I do it right here, because now you can put your hand on my lower back, throw me off, or even if I'm trailing in this position, right? You can give me a stutter, go. Right, cut me off.
Like here?
Anything too, because I'm not a big fan of running with the receiver in this position here, running with you.
Yeah.
Obviously, once you've already committed to the run, we're running vertical, we're running fades, posts. Well, of course, we're going to be here. I'm leaning on you, and you know, my shoulders across yours, and I'm leaning on you. But we're talking the in-phase situation. Like, I just got through the press, and now I'm running with the guy, and I'm here. My pec and shoulder position is very important now, because now as you run an inside breaking route, I can open up to this.
Yeah.
But if my shoulders are this way, as you break, naturally, the movement is this.
Yeah.
And I want to try to stay away from speed trends as much as I can.
Okay.
They're useful.
So you don't want this to happen, right?
Yeah, because I mean, even though I'm trailing you, like, watch, run that route, right? So you be here, you go inside, boom, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Right? But now if my shoulder position, a lot of the times, if my shoulder position is this way, and I'm in the trail, boom, 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 like you just cut me off.
Yeah.
Right? This personally just helps me with leverage.
Mm-hmm.
My chest and shoulder position got to be to my wide receiver, and it's usually the near side, right? So my near shoulder, near pec to your near shoulder, near pec.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I like
And then
it.
I'm just keeping my eyes on the hips. The moment the hips throttle, you know, you can put your hand on it, you can sit with it, right? Whatever you want to do. Some kids are taught to do this and push and go.
Yeah.
Some people, I just like to break down, and then wherever his hips turn and shoulders turn, that's where he's committed to.
And I think a concept to go into too is because, you know, I've had this with defensive backs where, you know, you go and defensive backs will even kind of be there. They're good at being able to kind of stay with you, right? And get really caught up in that side of it, right? But even though you're this close, don't really know how to make a play on the ball, right? So, I mean, I'm sure you've coached guys and seen guys like that where it's like, you're right there, man, like make a freaking play.
You just don't know how to play the ball.
Yeah. So what do you try to teach those types of guys?
With ball drills, honestly, what I would do with the guys that don't have the ball skills, I usually run them through like routes on air. So for example, we'll run a post. Okay? Back pedal, great. Boom, post.
Yeah.
High point the ball, right? Back pedal, run the slant. Back pedal, run the out.
Yeah.
Right? Curl and go. Back pedal. So I put you through a game situation and I'll throw the ball at you and then you put yourself in that position. So it's just one of the ball drills.
Yeah.
Just like if you know, receiver can't catch it, ball drills.
And how do you know when to look back, right? Because that's one of the things that I try to do. Okay, if I'm going to go here, I'm going to run a corner, let's say, right? And I'm here, I'm going to try to make it so really I don't want to be able to make it so he knows I'm running a quarter for as long as possible, right? Especially if I have a good relationship with my quarterback, right? So I'm going to go here and I'm going to try to make it so I'm still running as best as I can, and then last second try to curve out and be able to, you know, get the ball and make it so, you know, he has no idea what's coming. So when do you look at the ball?
Depends on where we're at. So if I'm in a bad position, if I'm out of phase, like we spoke about,
Yeah.
if I'm out of phase, right, and I'm chasing that corner route,
Yeah.
let's just talk about
We can bring the ball. Okay, yeah.
So as I'm let's just have the conversation being out of phase first, right?
Okay,
So if I'm
yeah.
out of phase, meaning I got distance from his hip, I'm closing to the hip. Since I'm out of phase, I have to play his hands, right? So as I'm running to you, I can see the hands
Okay.
come up. Now I'm playing the hands.
Okay.
Okay.
So you never look at the ball.
Never look at the ball when you're out of phase. Unless, the only thing I'm gonna say is, if I'm out of phase and I close the space before his hands come up. Now I've closed the space, now I can look back. Oh, cool, ball.
Yeah.
Right? And to that point, sometimes the ball may be like, if I'm out of phase and then I've caught up to you, and then now I'm here, I'm in phase, and I look for the ball. I cannot look, I call it 3, 2, 1. So
Yeah.
there's 3 levels. If I look right here, right now, even though I was losing, the ball could be right here. And I may not see going right into your hands, right? I always tell people, okay, I got to your hip, now look for the ball. 3, 2, 1. Because the ball could be here, the ball could be here, the ball could be up there. So I always tell people, when you get to the receiver, look up,
Look
find
up
the ball
first.
from 3 to 1.
I like it. Yeah, that's really good.
Good.
And yeah, I mean, the only thing that I would say from a receiver perspective there is, you know, try to be able to not make it to very evident that the ball is coming the best that you can, right? Obviously, when you're younger, you can get away with a lot more, but when you start to play more and more skilled defensive backs, then you have to be able to play that game, you know, at a higher and higher level, because yeah, the defensive backs will know when the ball's coming, and if they know, then you know you're screwed, right? You want to get them to be able to look back when the ball's not coming, and you want to be able to keep the eyes on you when the ball is coming. So
That makes our job harder.
yeah,
When the receiver is just here, and then last minute ball, that's the worst.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I would say too, like, don't rely on the refs, right? Because like I'll see this too, you know, the ball's in the air and I have them beat, and then, you know, the defensive back's coming in and, you know, you let them get hit, right? Like if a ball's coming back underneath here and I have him beat, I'm going to try to get around and come back and get it. You know, like I'm going to try to get back to the ball because I want to score touchdowns, you know, like getting pass interferences are not what it's about. It's about catching the ball and scoring touchdowns. So, you know, especially if you're getting a defensive back that's way out of position, overcommitting, and that ball's a little bit more on the line, you know, try to get out of his line, right? Because he even talked about he's trying to beeline it right through my hip. So I want to get away from him the best that I can because he's overcommitting to that. So if I do anything, it's another time where he's going to throw up a hand, he's going to get out of place, he's still going to probably PI you, but you could still get the ball and be able to make a play. You can't always rely on the refs making a call, especially in split decisions like that, because you could really go and make it so, you know, you're really not even doing pass interference, right? You get the ball around, or you get your head around. So that is something that I see is sometimes, you know, receivers kind of, because they're open and they didn't get the ball on time, they feel like they did their job.
They don't like to adjust.
Yeah.
They don't like to adjust. And I had that conversation because I had trained a kid that's a receiver DB.
Yeah.
And I always have this conversation with them. I say, like I was just talking, we work ball drills all the time, right? So we run a corner route or a post, for example. But let's stay with the corner for this one, right?
Yeah.
So we'll run a corner, backpedal, and then break on the corner.
Yeah.
And then, like, the ball will be coming. And let's just say in the drill, you're not going to be here in the drill, so it's just me.
Yeah.
The ball's coming and they're still catching it like this.
Yeah.
I always tell people, give them your chest and go up, because in a game situation now, as I'm breaking on that corner, if I go like this to you, and that ball comes right over my hands, it's going into your hands, right? Or if the ball's underthrown and I stay like this, what is a good receiver going to do? You just talked about it. You're going to square your shoulders up, box me out, and go after the ball.
Yeah.
Right? So if I can run to you and I see ball underthrown and I can box out before you, I win. Right? So it's when the ball's in the air, it could be yours or mine. But I like how you just said that we have to adjust to it. Even if I'm here and it's under, oh shoot, I got to stick my foot in the ground and come back.
Yeah.
Right? So it's that. You're right, man. Adjusting to the ball from the offensive, but even the defensive side too. Because a lot of times, I'm chasing the angle, and then the ball's here, and then they tap it, and they're like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, stick your foot in the ground and go get it.
Yeah.
I see that a lot in high school kids. They just, they don't adjust to the football.
Yeah. Especially with like an out or something like that, we got to be just here, right, and then be able to stick it the best that we can, and we got to have a great ability to have that option of being able to run both the speed out and being able to plant down and being able to get out, right? And I remember, it was probably for about a week where I, at the end of every day of practice, right, I wish I'd done it more, but I just, wanted to get good at it, and then once I was good, I was fine. But at the end of practice, I just started it from the 5, and I just worked on being able to get here and plant out, right? And I just kept on going back, because I knew that was like a part of the game that I was missing, is being able to really do that, right? And obviously when you have cleats, you can do it better. And then I'd work on it, and then I would just try to get faster, right? And be able to try to continue to just get better at it, get faster at it. So starting, at a slow percentage, you get faster, and I started getting more and more comfortable with it, and started to be able to understand how to be able to use my center of balance, right? Because, a lot of guys are pretty naturally good at being able to kind of go here, right, and get in and out, right? Like, that's not anything that's like crazy. But the better you can get at being able to really push and then know how to use your center of mass to be able to come down, bend into your leg, bend your knee down, I think the more that helps you out, right? And trying to make it so it's the least amount of steps as possible, right? And I want to say it wants to be like 4 steps, right? It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? And once you get into a lot of additional steps on that, it makes it a lot easier for defensive backs to be able to react, right? Because I want to go, like, for a comeback, I want to be able to get him going as fast as I can, and then be able to buckle down, quickly, to make it so then he, like, if it's going to take me 4 steps, I need to get into those 4 steps quicker and, get out of those 4 steps quicker than what he's at, right? So, he's going to break down obviously too, but if I can get these 4 steps down quicker, then he can end up having to take another couple steps as well. Then I'm here, and then, no matter what, you're going to have to go up and get the ball, so.
It's a matter of just creating that little bit, like you said, even that one step is a lot.
Yeah.
1 step is a lot.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
Get 1 step of spacing, bro, you can play quarterback. That's enough. That's enough for me to make that push.
Yeah,
so,
that's what we need.
You're definitely right. And I teach that from the same side. From the other side too, like as they break down, say gear 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
I place the hand gear because now if I push, it makes you take an extra step and not cut under.
That's smart. That's smart.
Mr. Will.
Oh yeah.
You put me on that one because I was never a hand on the back guy. I like to throttle, and then as soon as you turn, I'm going.
Yeah.
But he showed me that was like. Man, I was like a cheat code. Like, if I can make you take 1 more step.
I don't know if I've ever had any defensive back do that before.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
a tough one, right? So just putting the hand on the kind of the tailbone there,
exactly.
And just kind of like
that. I'm sinking with you, but I'm pushing you.
Yeah, that makes it tough.
The only other thing that I want to touch base on is maybe show 2 drills that can help with what we talked about. From both ends. Like maybe one drill that'll help with me pressing, and then it'll help you with the release.
Yeah.
I know for sure that what I like to do with DBs is have a line, and I just have them kick and slide, kind of like linemen do, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like punch and slide. So keeping my base right outside my hips. I'll do it this way.
Yeah.
So I'll keep my base so slightly outside my hips.
I'll get this camera.
Right?
Keep going.
Yeah. So I want to be able to punch and slide. Kick and slide, kick and slide, kick and slide, kick and slide, right? And then once I get good at kicking and sliding at a flat angle, then I want to start kick and slide at a 45-degree angle. So now my kick slide becomes kick slide, kick slide, kick slide, right? I maintain my hips to the receiver, shoulders to the receiver, right? I don't want to kick and slide at this angle, right? I don't want to open up and go 180, right? So we'll take it from flat angles. You can rep it. I usually have people go from like sideline to hash, right? And then when we work the 45s, I'll just have them go 5 yards. So if I go from here, right, kick and slide, 5 yards. And what that helps with, Morey, is if he gives me out the gate a lateral, you know how most receivers, they play at the line, right, and just go lateral. So if you give me lateral motion on the go, I can slide with you, right? If you are a good receiver, which most receivers take off and they attack vertical, if you attack me vertical, now I can 45 for that. Okay, and those are two things that'll help right now with the press.
Yeah.
That you can do at home. You can do this on carpet.
Yeah,
With no shoes on, because everything starts from here. I see a lot of times when we talked about the really aggressive pressers, they don't use this. They tend to and then it's like you leave your feet behind and then it's a wrap.
Yeah.
So I think if we learn how to shuffle and keep a wide base, right, sliding and not doing that to where my base is getting tight, I think we'll be good, and that's a great starting point for people.
I love it. Yeah, so and to go off of that, I mean, I think a better thing, or here, let me just adjust that. I mean, I already kind of gave that one drill with you working on being able to just get in and out of the out routes. Here, I just want to talk about like general concepts of performance, right? Human performance, right? And so one of the things is, as a receiver, you got to have flexible ankles, you got to have flexible knees, right? So you got to be able to work, we talk about the knees over toes guy, right? Like you have to have plenty of range of motion to be able to get your knees plenty over the toes, and you got to be able to have plenty of flexibility within that knee, because you're going through a ton of pounding, and all receivers are going to have, tight knees. You're going to put a lot of pressure on the knees. I mean, there's really not very many NFL, receivers that haven't had some type of knee problem, right? And if they haven't, they're pretty lucky, right?
Either that or unless they're doing what you're about to show them.
Yeah. So you got to be able to work ankle range of motion, got to be able to work the knee range of motion just in general, and there's a lot of ways you can access that type of stuff. But the other thing is going into just, again, basic 40 mechanics is the focus needs to be on being able to get your feet up and in front, right? Or knees up and in front. We can't be stuck, okay? And this is what is probably the most annoying thing when helping people with their 40 is like everybody wants to get here out of the get-go, right? Which just means you're trying to create force by pushing off of the ground, okay? The idea is when we're trying to create force, when we're trying to be fast, we need to get here, right? We need to get our feet here and our legs here to be able to pick up ground and be able to be quick off of the ground. Okay, and that's a true game changer for receivers because, even as a defensive back, and again, I played both sides of the ball, where you can see when guys come off the ball and they just know that they have speed. They have that track speed, quote unquote. They can beat you over the top, right? And the guys that can do it, they are able to get their knees up and get going quick, right? And you see their toes, you see their feet. It's like, oh man, this guy's coming and I need to start reacting, right? Well, guys, the receivers that don't look good off the line are here. Whether you're going fast or you're not going fast, if you have your foot coming up too far back behind, you are not putting the same type of pressure on the defensive back. You need to get your feet up and you need to be striking the ground to be able to get off the ground, to be able to close any type of gap, right? And also to make it so you're in a good position to be able to move side to side. Being able to get here and strike gives me the opportunity to now move side to side. If I'm striking downward, I'm way slower in being able to get myself under control. If I can get here, now I'm under control basically immediately. But you can't just do that in one step. You have to train yourself how to be great at being able to create horizontal force over a period of time in order to make that actually a sustainable thing.
Really, I just like to talk. I like podcasts. I told you earlier I had a goal, or
Yeah.
I have a goal. Second half of the year, last 2 quarters of the year, I want to have 5 podcasts. So once I knock out these 5, this is number 1. Second half of the year.
It's good timing then, huh?
Perfect.
Had him up earlier this week, and he was here. Tuesday?
Yeah.
We figured this out Tuesday.
Yeah.
He was here Friday. I was trying to get another person to be able to do one, and he ended up messing up with his schedule. So wanted to make sure to get something in this week as well. And luckily we got Chris. And one of the first things I want to talk about, Chris, is football. We're obviously from the football background, football pedigree. People that watch this are a lot of times from that same type of pedigree.
For sure.
When it comes to the experience right now that guys are going through, right, as they're going through their high school years, college years, youth years, whatever, and building relationships and being a great teammate, what are some of the things you feel like that embodies, right? Or maybe some of the mistakes that you might have made when you were playing that you feel like, damn, I wish I didn't do that, or didn't maybe act that way, or
I think on my end, the thing that shapes a leader is more so being able to be like have empathy for a teammate. Whether it's the person that's not that good, that has to get better, and you're not like, oh, go over there and lift with them, like that can be, problematic, because as a kid like me, I came in freshman year, a basketball player, never played football in his life outside of street ball with my friends.
Yeah.
And now they're telling me put these pads on and go tackle that person, and I'm like, bro, no, it's not gonna happen, bro.
Yeah.
But then there's a couple teammates, like John Falula, shout out my guy, John Falula. Whether you're good or not, fast, slow, big, small, whatever, they're still gonna critique you when you need to be critiqued. Stop walking on the field. Make sure you jog, right? One thing that I see personally that I never liked in anybody, whether it's a teammate or a coach, is when somebody just cusses at you for no reason, like just yells at you, you mother, you piece of, just degrading you, putting you down. And I'm like, because me as a person, it's not that it puts me down, it makes me angry. So now I'm shutting out, and I'm not listening to anything else you're saying. So to answer your question real brief, honestly, man, it's I think for sure a leader has to have empathy. He has to be able to understand where his teammate is coming from, what he's dealing with, and then be able to give him his criticism based off of that. That's just the biggest thing on my end.
And I love that too, because I think it transitions into where from your, because I know the reason that I do this, right? The reason that I make videos, the reason I do this podcast, the reason I have so much passion in coaching is because I wish there was somebody that connected with me the way that I want to be able to connect with you, because I know I could have gotten more out of my year 12, right? When I was 12 years old, 13 years old, 14 years, and I had a great upbringing. Nothing against my parents, nothing against my coaches or anything like that. It was just what the focus was on is just on being able to, like, just not correct, right? To me, right? Because I look back and I was able to learn the footwork easily as a quarterback. I was able to easily decide, like, make reads. I've always been like a decisive person. So it kind of boosted my ego too early, and I thought I was like better than I was, when really I needed to work on throwing the ball further, right? Adding velocity. And again, it's not that they didn't work on it, right? They tried to, but they didn't have the information that I utilize now to help put it. And so why do you do what it is that you do?
Ever since I was, my brother's 7 years younger than me, so my brother started. So I was, 15? When I was 15, I would go from Grant High School, take the bus to Van Nuys, and my brother played for the Trojans. He practiced at Van Nuys High School. So nice. I would go and help my brother's team. Even if it was just like I was late and just helping with team, and just like, because I would always get there when team was there. Pop Warner, after team you're done.
Yeah.
Even in, throughout football. But anyway, I'd get their team, and even though I'm helping out, it still felt good to help kids and teach them something, right? So that's kind of like where it started. And then when I went to college, I went to school in Missouri and then Kansas. So when I would come back in town, I would always go back to Balboa Park or go help out at Park and Recs and just coach a team. I was always into like helping little ones out. I think what really got me was I always wanted a strong male figure in my life. So I had my dad in my life. He was there. It's just he was there, but he wasn't there. It was like, you're in Granada Hills, or you're here, but we're maybe a couple miles away, but you signed me up for basketball, but you're not teaching me how to play basketball, right? You're not shooting around with me. You're not throwing the football, playing cat, like you're not doing that with me, right? So I lacked that, and I made up with older friends, right? That at times weren't doing the best things, so I gravitated to sports. My mom always put me in sports. I didn't get my first mentor until I was about 20, and that was Hatch. You met Hatch, Matthew Hatch. So Hatch and T.O., they like kind of big bro to me and were like, hey, you can't come to workouts and get beat and then give up on play. You know, like you're trying to train for the league now. Like this is different, bro. I don't care where you've been, but they really buckled me down. And I think ever since that, I went with them for 5 years, kind of mentoring through under them for 5 years. And then when I was done playing football and when we started, no handouts and all that, and I came to you and we started connecting, it was easy for me to just say, you know what, I want to help kids and try to make this a job because I had already been doing it. I would come back and go to Birmingham with my little brother his freshman year with Dennis Keys, and I'll do DB drills with Dennis, go out there, catch the ball, whatever. Kids would be like, oh. So I'll stay after practice doing ladder drills or pedals, and the DBs will stay with me. And it was just something that, like, after I got done in 2015 playing ball, period, it was like, all right, my brother's in high school now. I want to help him out. He's junior year. He had transferred to Cesar Chavez. He's a starter now. But he came off of like 150 tackle season, all conference, all city. And then I'm like, all right, I want to help you and your friends. So I started helping his friends. And long story short, they would just pay me with the report cards. Like, they'll show me the report cards because I was a bad grade kid. I was one of those guys that I wasn't stupid. I was just lazy. I didn't apply myself. And so I just don't want the kids to repeat the same thing. Right?
And to go off of that, right, because immediately what comes to my mind with that is I think it always helps to be able to get feedback from somebody that's in your situation, scenario, right? Like, one of the things that's unique with me is I was adopted, right? So like anytime I'm around somebody else, it's like, oh yeah, I was adopted too. Like immediately we're like, okay, cool. Like, we have that. It's like almost like I've heard the story or it's kind of a story where you're in LA, right, and or New York, whatever, and you see somebody with a LA hat or a New York hat, you're just like whatever, you just go past them, it's just another person. But you're in like Japan and you see somebody with an LA hat, right? You're from LA, you're like, oh, what's up? Like you're from LA, right? Like it's just like a different thing, right?
No, for sure.
So going into not having a father, right, and what that's like, and being able to let people know that one, you're not different, right? You're not loved. There's nothing that you did that made it so you can have a father, right? And I'm sure you had to kind of get through that at a certain period, but also being able to go through like, I guess some of the wisdom that you've learned from that, right? And some of the things that you've used that to create more opportunities for yourself, right? Made it so you've been able to, I guess, rise above, right? Not become part of the negative statistics behind that, but part of the positive statistics behind that, right? And just expanding into how you can turn that into a positive.
I agree with you though, as far as like the whole adopted thing. I actually didn't know that. That caught me off guard. Like, man, that's crazy. But to your point,
a lot of people, whenever I tell them that at first, they're like, "Oh shit,"
Yeah. But to your point though, we do what we do, and I think that's why that's the connecting factor. Like, we've had a conversation about Jay. I'll just, because that's the one kid that, and it's like you guys have that factor. It's like his dad wants the best out of him the same way your dad wanted the best out of you. And correct me if I'm wrong, and it's just like he's putting you in the best position, Jay, to come train with somebody who now can connect with you because he understands the level of work and commitment it takes to get to where you want to go. Regardless of level of where I played, I still went there. Like, they paid for my school. Like, I'm here. So I think matching, like once the kid sees that you may have come from a similar background, or if you've been where he or she has been, or whatever, right? I think that's like the icebreaker for what we do. Because a lot of the times, like, I can't speak for you, but I can speak for myself and what we do at the gym. It's like, dude, like, I think we're like 97% retention rate. Like every single person that steps foot in that gym or comes for a free session, they're locked in. They're like, oh my God, I just love it here. This is amazing. You guys are great, and I don't know how to, maybe it's like that for you too, and I think that just comes
definitely not. But that's also because, and I don't want to get too much into it, but
for sure.
I'm I have certain numbers that I want to be able to get to, and it's like, so whether, I mean, you either pay it or you don't pay it, you know, it's right.
That's
and
neither here nor there.
Exactly.
That's neither here nor there.
Exactly.
But what
everybody that I come to here wants to continue to train 100%. Right? I've never been with somebody who's been like, you know, this seems kind of not the thing.
But what I'm saying is though, yeah, same thing. People come here. That's my point, bro. People come to you and they feel that energy. Like, you've been through this, bro.
Yeah.
You've been through the sport. You know this. Not only do you know the science behind it and you know what you're doing, but you've actually worked. You've done this. Yeah. You know, and I think that's what this generation of trainers, mentors, whatever consultants, whatever you want to call yourself. Yeah. I think this era, our age, that 28 to like 34, 35, even 36, in the Valley, LA's been doing a great job for years, to where somebody goes D1 or pro at whatever sport and they come back and give back to the kids. We've never had that here. Yeah. Everybody that goes pro from here or something like that, they're not here no more. So it's like our era, we're starting something so special and so amazing outside of like, okay, where I come from, where you come from. It's like we really care for these kids, right? We really care and want to see the best version of themselves. Mm-hmm. And it's not even just sports. It's just the best for like a kid recently. I've been working with him for a year now. Speed kid. He goes to Sean James Collis.
Okay, yeah.
James. So I've been working with James. When I started with him, he was running 14.7 on the treadmill. We ended up at 17.8. 17.8.
Nice.
Just recently.
Yeah, on the curve?
Yeah, the same treadmill.
Yeah.
But then he just texted me. I'm Wednesday. This is Wednesday. Hey, bro, what time? You know, we're on the field 12, right? Coach, you know what? I just decided I don't want to play football no more. This time, I'm like, we've been working for a whole year, bro. Like, you've gotten faster. You look amazing. Like, but going back to my point, okay, forget football. Now what's next? Yeah. You know, I'm still a part of your life. You know, I may not train you no more, but I can, hey, what's up, bro? Like, I still follow you on IG, and I still got your number. Like, wherever, I feel like wherever God's going to place us, you know, comes from that first, like, the first time I ever met you. God already knew where he was going to place our relationship. He already knew that. So, like, with James and James' situation, or any athlete, it's like, it's beyond, I want to see you do good at your sport. I want to see you be a good person. Mm-hmm. Right? It goes back to empathy, right? I want to see you be a good person and excel in life. Because after football, I had no idea, bro. You know, bro, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Yeah. Zero clue. I just know I wanted to help people. I don't know, man. It's a blessing to be able to do what we do. But stuff like this, connecting with people like you, like learning from you, learning from like Spellman, learning from Will, I like to learn, and I think that's what I've come to. Like at a young age, I wasn't trying to learn. Yeah, like, I knew everything.
Yeah.
I knew everything.
I mean, I was in the same situation, right? I started off. I wanted to when I was in high school, it was like, miss me with all that reading stuff, you know, the U.S. history, blah blah blah, like Call of Duty, Madden, NCAA. Easy. You know, like let's do that, right? Let's go to the parties, the hang, all that type of good stuff. And you know, again, looking back, I wish I had somebody that kind of put their arm around me a little earlier, gave me some better direction. Kept me busy, right? Didn't make it so I had so much time, free time, and I, you know, when going in and being able to again take like a third, I guess, you know, like a third eye view. I'm trying to think of like the best way. When you take a step back,
for sure,
right, and be able to, I guess, assess what ends up being the thing that pulled you through. It was like starting to be able to get control of the future, right? Feeling like I could control my future. Yeah. And that's what made it so I started learning more about learning, right? Being able to learn more about sales. And that's one of the things that I think is the best thing that I did was really, and I still do, I invest a lot of time in learning sales. And the reason I say that is not necessarily because of when you're talking to a potential client, how important it is, as much as that is really important, but being able to really sell yourself on yourself, right? Believe in who you are and what, because there's certain things that as a salesperson, you have to be able to get over limiting beliefs, right? Believing that, or such as believing you're not good enough, believing you're not worth it, or your product isn't worth it, or your service isn't worth it, right? Believing that what you wear doesn't matter, right? And how your outlook is, your presentation, and how the numbers matter, right? Because, I've talked to a lot of trainers that are great, right, at what they do, and feel uncomfortable about charging money or asking people for money, and want to create like a system that is easier when it comes to doing that. And of course we all want to be able to do that, right? But what I hear when I hear that is somebody that is frustrated with how they've been able to charge money in the past, and is therefore settled for less money to make it so it is an easier cycle, right, for them to be able to charge, right? So like on a monthly fee, right, instead of charging $100 per session, right, or whatever ends up being your number, you're like, we could do it for $350 a month, right, and you can come in for 3 times a year, whatever ends up being the case, right?
That's something I used to have that problem when I first started, because it was like I was with the nonprofit, and then when I actually started getting some people like wanting to train, it was like, oh, okay, I gotta make money off of this. This is that. Then even parents would tell me that they're like, it's free. Like, can I give you like a donation? So, and when I started, when we got to the district here in Canoga, it was like, all right, how do I charge people? Okay, $20, $20. That's not sustainable. That's what, like you're saying, that I'm worth $20, right? So like now to this day, it's like you charge what you charge, but it's like you can't, like I tell parents, I'm not gonna drop it, but I'll tell you what, if it's $100 for my hour, how about you go recruit a friend and y'all both pay 50 and give me my 100?
Yeah.
Right? That's fair, because I'm still helping you out with the rate, right? But I'm not gonna say like it's all about the money, but that's a conversation people don't want to have, because it is about the money.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, bro, like I got 3 kids to feed. You know what I'm saying? You got your situation. You got a beautiful home that you got to pay mortgage for, bro. Like, it is what it is. And there's overhead we got to pay. The same way, it's like if I go, and I've always thought about this. Like, it was like, parent, they won't call their mortgage, like, the company or whatever, they won't call and be like, hey, can I get it, like, can you, like, lower it this month? Yeah. Like, they won't call Sprint and be like, it's $400, but can I pay $370? You're not going to bargain with them. But you're going to bargain with the people that are putting and investing so much time into your child. Yeah. That's what I don't understand. Yeah. It's like, it won't make sense to me. It's like, bro, it's Netflix, bro. Why don't you tell Netflix to charge you $5?
Yeah.
You know?
I know. I mean, and it's funny that you say that, because it is I can't put too much thought into all of it, right? Like, I just try to be the best that I could be and show up the best that I can every single day, and provide for the people that do believe in me, right? Do invest into my programs and my services or whatever. And so when I get in that position and I have a kid, right? Or even, my relatives have kids, or my relatives or somebody that I care about wants to invest in a service, right? Because I'm from that service industry, I'm much more into like, where's the quality service, right? Not as much about how can I save $5 or $20 or whatever the case may be. It's like, I want to make sure that I'm participating in the best service, right? Or the highest quality service for what it is that I'm looking to pay, to make sure that the end result is guaranteed to get there. For sure. Right? Because if you're looking to get your kid faster, and and not to say that somebody that charges, right, like you charged before, $20 an hour is not going to be able to help the kid get faster. It's not going to be, the same. But when you took into like a long-term investment, right, you're just not going to get the same level of overall value. Right, I know what I'm going to be able to provide, and even being able to develop that relationship that I have with the kids, and continuing to, me myself get better, right, and trying to raise the bar, right, and push that inside them, where it's like, you can do better, you can do more, you can achieve more, you can be great. There's nothing that I was blessed with that nobody else has, right? I just show up and work, right? Show up and get better. And I continue to better what it is that I am working on, right? And continue to take steps and to continue to learn. And you have so many different emotional parts of all this, right? Where sometimes you feel like you have to, in a sense, but especially when you're talking to people about something like speed or throwing or jumping or lifting, you have to have so much belief and confidence in what it is that you're saying and teaching and coaching that there heightens your belief in yourself, or let's say ego, right? It almost heightens it up, right? Because you get to a point where you almost believe your own hype, right? And then you also look at the things that you are not doing all the way. Yeah. How would you compare college, the life in college, to the life of being an adult? A dad, a business owner. Sounds like you got multiple businesses here, right? Husband, quote unquote, however you want to.
No, husband.
You're in. Yeah.
I love my wife, man. I love my wife.
Yeah. Husband, dad, business owner, friend, mentor, coach.
I'll go back to high school. I'll go back to college and snap of a finger.
Yeah.
Go back to college. There's no worries, bro. Like I'm not even gonna sit here and sugarcoat it, bro. I see why people work 9 to 5. Like I see why, bro. That makes a lot of sense, And I battle with myself all the time. But that's the devil telling me to quit. That's how I see it. Yeah. It's like I've started this and been doing this for 10 years, bro. It's like, it's a little progress, but I'll take it. As long as we're not going backwards, I'll take it. So I don't know, man. I recently actually just had, this is a lot of information, but recently, the past 2 months, I'm sitting here doing new baby. I'm taking on all the financial burden myself because wifey's not working. Yeah. And this is, bro, it's a lot. Yeah. So I'm sitting here but it's making me, I say, what's the phrase? Pressure makes diamonds. Right? Yeah. So I'm under pressure right now, and it's like I wouldn't have it no other way though, because I don't like idle time. Yeah. I do not like it. I can't stand idle time.
Yeah, it's not good.
I don't like it. Like I find idle time now at home, and I'm like, let me get the baby. Let me get the baby. All right, the baby's not here. Cool. Cash, you want to go outside and train? You want to go to Chuck E. Cheese? I can't just sit still, man. Edit videos. Now I've been editing my DD videos now. Doing voiceovers and stuff. So I've been getting on that. Took a page from your book.
There you go. I like it. Yeah, what I came to my mind, because I actually really appreciate this, and I think it's great advice for parents, is when the communication with setting up the workouts, right, and the schedule, during the week or whatever the case may be, is with the athlete instead of the parent. I feel like that is such because you can tell too the difference in the person, where it's when you're dealing more with the parent, right? And it's especially when the parent is or the kid is a junior or senior in high school, right? And it's I have 8th graders that will hit me up and be like, hey coach, what's the week, what are we gonna, and you can just tell the difference of the two different people.
The type of athlete they are.
Yeah, well, just the type of
athlete. The type of people, you're right, the type of people.
Yeah.
The type of people that, you're right, because I just started working with this one kid from Harvard Westlake Brothers. And one of them's a junior, one's an incoming freshman. And they're self-motivated. Bill, he drives on his own. He takes his little brother with him.
Exactly.
It's I tell him, hey, for example, we're working some switches. I'm like, hey, so you gotta, think about smashing the ground, squeezing your glutes, right? Keeping your hips tall, posture, right? All that good stuff. Next, from one rep to another. Good. Yeah. I don't talk to the parents. I just talk to their parent one time, hey, anytime, as far as the budgeting goes, just text me and my wife, boom, boom, boom. But as far as the schedule, all in. Yeah. I haven't even met the dad. Yeah. Just them two. But to your point, and then I got another kid that, he's a freshman. And, mom's texting me for everything. He doesn't even know how to write an email. Yeah. It's bro, how do you know how to write an email? I know. It's 22. It's 2022 right now. Yeah. But, not to get into parenting styles, because everybody does it how they want to. parenting is hard, by the way. I know you don't got no kids, bro, but it's hard, bro. Like,
sure.
I got one at every level right now. I got a teenager, I got a little annoying 7-year-old, 6-year-old, and then I got the baby. So I got every level right now.
Yeah. So you handle
you know,
a lot.
so yeah, no, I mean, and
how can people find you? If they wanted to reach out. I mean,
Find
DB gets the
me.
backs, obviously.
So yeah, DB training, speed training, strength training, all that stuff. Just on Instagram at Chris Aguado, Chris with an HCHRIS, last name AGUADO with an underscore.
Yeah, we'll put all that in there. That's the best place is on Instagram.
Yes, sir.
Okay. No
One
other.
dimension.
What about website that you have for a website?
So I have my website. It's on there. It's thestandarddbacademy.com. That's for all the DB stuff. Or if you want any speed, agility, strength training, District Sports Performance.
Do you have like any video tutorial stuff or anything like that?
We're actually building that up now for the DB stuff, at least on
Okay.
DBN. So
There you go.
you
You need
know,
that.
as far as the field stuff, I'm sorry, the weight room stuff and speed and agility stuff. That stuff, I feel like I'm still learning more cues, teaching cues and stuff. So as I'm learning, I don't, I want to perfect it and kind of learn it a little more before I kind of start teaching somebody else. Even though I feel like I'm all right at it, want to learn a little more. But as far as the DBs, bro, we 15 years doing this, learning from great coaches. I need to give this back to somebody, So, but yeah, no, the DB stuff
can
will
do
be
that.
coming soon in August. I'm gonna
Okay.
have online training, all that. Like I got kids.
That would be a super dope video. I know that.
Let's
would
do
be.
it. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.